Welcome back, everybody. I'm Giles, and today we're talking computer monitors, and specifically the Samsung Odyssey G7. If you remember, not too long ago, I dropped a new PC build video, and it was for a gaming PC. I built it in the Antec P120 crystal case, uses the new MSI Tomahawk system board with the B660 chipset. Well, when you build all that and make that investment, what finishes it off? That's right, a new gaming thoroughbred monitor. And this thing is all gaming all the time. Everything from the refresh rate to the NVIDIA G7. I mean, it's just all gaming. And we'll talk about those specs as I unbox it and take a look at the monitor. Now, you'll want to stick around toward the end because I'm going to give you some footage of this in action as well on that new PC. So you'll get some cool gaming footage there. But to get started, let's go ahead and take a look at the box and pull this thing out. It is box time. So this is pretty much a standard box for a monitor. Now this thing's 27 inch, so it's pretty big. This side, we got nothing going on at all. If we flip up to the top though, we get a little bit of information up here, right? So it calls out the model name, the Odyssey, the G7, 27 inches, shows that you can use it with Windows. It's a 1000R curved screen, cute LED. It calls out the 240 hertz refresh rate. Like I said, this thing is all gaming all the time. And that is also AMD FreeSync and NVIDIA G-Sync capable. Tape is pretty straightforward, clear, nothing special there. Now, once we are in, we are confronted with a bunch of stuff. So we have the power brick, a book, and another book, along with all the power cables. And it looks like we also have USB, and this might be DisplayPort or HDMI. I'll have to dig this out and take a look and see, but I think this is everything that you're gonna need to connect it. All right, these have to be part of the stand. More stand here. And then this is likely to be the port cover for the rear of the unit. Got the stand arm, and from there, we're really into the main event. Very large piece of styrofoam. There's one on the bottom that matches as well. And the monitor itself. Now, one thing about this monitor is that it's really, really deep. And the reason for that is that it's curved. So, I mean, it is quite a lot of monitor there. So let's take this out, set this box to the side, take a look at the goods. All right, it's covered with nice foam. It's not very tight, as that there's a lot of curve to it. You can see the plastic still attached as it should be. Yeah, this thing is, I mean, look how deep that is. I mean, that is a lot of monitor right there. Okay, on the bottom, there's a joystick here for control. And then you can see here we have a plethora of ports for connectivity. We'll go over all of those a little bit later. On the back, this should be the section for the RGB lighting. And then here on the front, it's a very straightforward screen. And this thing, like I said, there's a lot of curve to it. It is extremely noticeable. This is not something that's, slight. They have done what they've done, and they meant to do it. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. So let's go ahead and we're going to put this thing together, and then we'll fire it up and take a look and see what happens. Now let's step through the assembly of this G7. There are basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts you need to worry about. So the first part is the VESA adapter. And well, you don't need to worry about this unless you're going to put this on some type of external mount. So you can just set this one to the side. The remaining pieces to assemble are the arm, the leg, cable management, and a trim ring. Now this trim ring is tricky because it clicks together and apart with little tabs. And I've already broken one off. So be very, very, very careful. This thing's super delicate. Now, once you get it in, it won't really matter, but nobody wants to break anything. So we'll talk about that in just a bit. Now, first step is you take this arm and the back comes off. And there's nothing to depress to get it off. You just simply push up on it vertically and hope that you don't break it, and it pops off. Now, this is the area that you're gonna run cables in through here and down through the bottom and then out through the leg. And it'll keep everything nice and hidden. Now, there are 4 captive screws and a tab on the top of this unit. The tab at the top of the unit slips into this slot on the top side of the monitor arm. So don't try and push it in. You have to come in from the bottom, insert the tab into the slot, kind of shimmy it up in there, and then it'll set down. Now, once you've got it set down, you've got these 4 screws that you need to screw in. If you have everything lined up just right, the screws will easily go into their socket. The next piece of the assembly is the foot. And on the bottom of the foot, you have a thumb screw. It also has a Phillips head on it for final tightening. You'll align these 5 slots and 1 post with the bottom of the arm and bolt this on. Once the foot is attached, now you're gonna deal with this trim ring that I told you was so easy to break. There's a tab and a slot on each side, and you'll just slip this around your arm, get your 2 tabs and slots lined up, and it'll push back together. Should get a click. There are actually 4 tabs that can click if you don't break them all. Now, you'll take this and set this down, and what I found is easiest is go counterclockwise with it till it drops, and then you'll move it 15 or so degrees, maybe even less, and lock it into place. And that will mount this, what really I think is kind of a lens for the LED lights on the rear. It makes it look nice, although you're never really looking back here. So this really disperses the light. Now, we're down to 2 pieces. This cable management piece, which clicks right on from here. And then you take your final trim cover, set it on, and slide it back down to the bottom. That's it. This thing is assembled. Now let's stand her up and take a look at her and the specs. First off, let's take a look at the range of motion of the arm. So it lifts up quite high. It also rotates left and right. And let's see if we can get a vertical orientation. We can. And then how far down will this go? That goes all the way back down to the table. So it's very flexible as to how you can use the included arm with the unit. Now let's talk specs of this panel. So this is 27 inches and it has a dramatic curve. So this is a 1000R, and you might find like an 1800R, which is less deep on other monitors. So this one is about as dramatic as you're gonna find. Gives you a great in-game experience for immersiveness, but it might take a little getting used to. Some people say that they have some issues with viewing angle at the edges with this much curve, but we'll take a look when we plug this thing in and game on it a little bit and see if we notice anything like that. The resolution is 1440p, so that comes in right in between HD and 4K, and from my point of view, that's kind of the sweet spot for gaming right now. 240 hertz refresh rate, super fast, and 1 second pixel speed makes this thing awesome. Now, you might think this is an IPS panel, but you'd be wrong. This is a VA panel, so it gives you really, really good colors. Also, HDR capable, and we'll take a look at that as we play. Not as good as a television from Samsung, but still very capable in the HDR department. Looking at the ports on the bottom of the unit, you've got power, USB-A, your input for USB, 2 DisplayPort, 1 HDMI, and 1 headphone jack. Now the item that I'm really missing on here is USB-C. That would have been nice to have, but it's still nice to have a couple of USB-As on the bottom. Now, we've seen everything pretty much about the monitor. Let's plug this thing up and game with it a little bit.
you.